We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And for the review of agenda, if there are any items that arose after the 72-hour posting deadline, this is the point in the meeting where a vote may be taken to add the item to the agenda.
Morning, Board. I'm U.S. District Manager, and on March 5th, we received a letter from representatives from the city of Seaside requesting a continuance of item 6A and to have it be pulled off this agenda and moved to a later date.
Okay.
And then there is a representative from the city of Seaside here if you would like more information. The city of Seaside requested, sent a letter requesting to have it removed.
Okay, so we have some new updates. So there is actually the letter was addressed to the chair, and then for the public's attention and also for the boards, I can also read the letter for everyone's awareness. Let me have it here. So this was dated March 5th of 2025, the day after the meeting agenda was published. So it was addressed to John Uy, Chair of the Seaside County Sanitation District, 440 Harcourt Avenue, Seaside, California, 93955, regarding item 6A, direction to staff regarding amendment to Seaside County Sanitation District voting structure. So dear Chair Uy, the City of Seaside respectfully requests that item 6A to consider the potential amendment of the Seaside County Sanitation District voting structure proposed by the City of Seaside be continued to the April meeting. The basis for this request is that the Seaside representative on the board, Mayor Ian Oglesby, will be out of the state and unavailable. Additionally, I will also be out of the state and unavailable. Thank you for your consideration of this request. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Sincerely, Sherry L. Damon, City Attorney. And it was CC'd to the SCSD Council, and to the Acting District Manager, and to Daniel Mewis from the Seaside County Sanitation District. So that is the one letter. And then I also had a letter that I would like to bring to the board and to the public. And this is the letter from the city attorney of the city of Delray Oaks. And this is regarding this same agenda item. So as you could comprehend, for the first letter, it was really requesting that the item be deferred to the April meeting due to their inability to attend today. And then the second letter from the city attorney of the city of Delray Oaks is raising concerns about the legitimacy of Seaside's request and whether it was properly authorized in a public meeting. So that's why I would like to read as well the letter from the city attorney of Delray Oaks, which was dated March 10th, 2025, and it was also sent to the board during this day. So when I was checking on the email, there were many that were CC'd. Okay, so here's the content of the letter. Seaside County Sanitation District Board of Directors, 444 Harcourt Avenue, Seaside, California, 93955. So regarding the March 11, 2025 meeting, item 6A, our file 34837.33652. Dear members of the Board of Directors, this office represents the city of Delray Oaks City as city attorney. It has come to the city's attention that the Seaside County Sanitation District has placed an item on its March 11, 2025 agenda regarding a possible amendment to the district's code to provide for weighted voting. The agenda item makes clear the item was added at the request of the City of Seaside. You will recall this item was discussed at the district's November 12, 2024 meeting, also at the request of Seaside. At the meeting, it became clear that neither district staff nor the district board were able to identify a public meeting, let alone a public notice, at which Seaside gave its city attorney Sherry Damon direction to request the matter be placed on the agenda. At the conclusion of this item, the district board directed its staff to obtain information regarding Seaside's desire to amend the district's voting structure. Unfortunately, the staff report for the district's upcoming March 11th meeting contains no such information, and much of the staff report appears to be information repeated from the documents prepared for the November 12, 2024 meeting. Indeed, the request letter from Sherry Damon attached to the staff report for item 6A is from the district's August 24, 2024 meeting. In short, district staff has not provided any evidence that the request to modify the district's voting structure came from the Seaside City Council or any committee or commission thereof, perhaps because no such direction exists. Importantly, we have confirmed with Delray Oak City Manager John Gertin that at no time did Seaside contact him, even as a professional courtesy, to discuss a proposed modification to the district's voting structure. For the above reasons, the City of Delray Oaks argues the district board to continue item 6.A at its March 11th meeting until such time as it can confirm that the request presented in Sherry Damon's August 6, 2024 letter was indeed directed by Seaside in an official capacity at the notice public meeting. Sincerely, Fenton and Keller, a professional corporation, and signed by Alex J. Lorca. Okay, so those are the two letters that received regarding this particular agenda, which is agenda 6A, which if we could look at the agenda packet that is in the new business topic. And I want to have a discussion, or maybe if there are questions from the board to the City of Seaside and also to the City of Delray Oaks, if we have some representation here. Okay, now I would also want to give the floor to the public because this is your meeting, and you have I have read the two letters about some deferral. And what do you think?
Good morning. I'm getting the indication from Jerry Blackwelder that I perhaps should say something, but I'm Vibeke Norgaard, City Manager for the City of Sand City, and we did, just as background, take this item to our City Council at our last regularly scheduled council meeting. And as was our understanding at the last board meeting, that was sort of the direction the board wanted to go, get input from the individual councils on a matter of this importance for the JPA. And the council did give Councilmember Blackwelder their input on how they would like him to vote. So, I mean, board member Blackwelder can speak for himself, of course, but just to know that that occurred, if anybody wanted to look into it. But thank you, and thank you for your time reading the letters in and being here this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Vibeke, for being here and also for giving that information to the board. Thank you. Any other else? Public comment is still open for this review of agenda. None. If there's no other, I'm gonna close public comment, and I'm gonna bring it back to the board. If you have any other comments regarding this, like the deferral of agenda item 6A.
Well, I remember the first letter that Mayor of Seaside's out of town, so that makes sense to continue that. The second letter seems like it had some technical issues with the process, but I don't see anybody from Seaside to address that at all. So what do we do next? Just do nothing? I don't understand how, there's no response to the letter from Delray Oaks saying that there were some issues with the process.
So what we can do is if the board decides to continue the meeting, we can work with the city of Seaside staff to figure out what was dropped. If we need to make sure there's more information that needs to be released to the board, and work with the other agencies as well, and provide that professional courtesy to both Delray Oaks and Sand City as needed.
Yeah, and to include language that makes sense to somebody like me, because when she had issues with some of the processes. So I'd like to know why and how it could have been done differently in the future. And so, okay, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. And here's my view about this, because of course, when I received these two letters, and as a chair of this board, I really wanted to be fair, logical, and sensible. So because I was really like been thinking over this like during the weekend, and here are my thoughts, and I want the public also to know my thoughts. So as a chair or as a board here, we really want to ensure full representation in a major decision. So that's always good governance. So the city of Seaside initiated this proposal, and the representative, first Vice Chair Ian Oglesby, is absent. Since this proposal directly impacts the representation and voting power, some might argue that it is reasonable to wait until all cities have their full leadership present for the discussion. However, if the roles were reversed, Delray Oaks or Sand City might also want the courtesy of postponement if they were proposing a major change affecting governance. So another thought that I had would be, of course, in this kind of big decisions, we want to avoid an imbalanced and rush decision. And agenda item 6A is a contentious issue, potentially altering how decisions are made for years to come. If one city's key representative is missing, there could be an appearance of imbalance or lack of inclusivity in the decision-making process. And another thought is we also want to preserve good working relationships among cities. While procedurally, Seaside should have planned better, if an item was important enough for Seaside to propose, then it should be important enough for them to ensure representation at the meeting. Others might also think that postponing the discussion might be a strategic move by Seaside to avoid deliberation when they do not have full control or influence over the meeting. However, a deferral could be seen as a good faith gesture to maintain a cooperative relationship among all three SCSD cities. The board functions best when all cities feel their voices are heard, and deferring the item could reduce future tensions and claims of unfairness. So with these thoughts, supporting deferral is the best choice, in my opinion, because number one, the Seaside representative is not present today, making it difficult to have a balanced discussion. Second, the issue of high importance and should be discussed with all present board members having equal say. And the third, the legitimacy of Seaside's request is in question, and we should not rush a decision without verifying authorization. Fourth, deferring allows Seaside to clarify their position and properly engage in the discussion of in the April meeting. And also, in addition to the City of Seaside's request to defer agenda item 6A, I want also to note that the material submitted for this item remain largely unchanged from previous discussions. The justification for weighted voting is very limited to a short statement without supporting data, without analysis or context. So if this item is deferred to April, I strongly urge Seaside to submit a more substantive and detailed justification that provides a full rationale for the proposed change, supporting data or case studies demonstrating the need for weighted voting, a clear analysis of how this would impact SCSD's governance structure and decision-making process, and a response to concerns raised by the other two member cities. I believe it is in the best interest of all parties to ensure that this discussion is well-informed, data-driven, and transparent before it returns to the board. If I may, I would really want the board to consider this if I'm gonna make a motion. Like whether the motion would really like, we can have a deferral of this topic, of this agenda item. Plus, we're gonna also set expectations, what should be in the report in the next meeting, if ever. And then we should also probably also input some accountability that if ever those expectations are not being met, we can have the prerogative not to discuss that item in our board. What do you think
Well,
about
Dan
that?
basically said he was going to do all of that. I don't understand the technical, what I'm saying. So you're gonna present something next month then, right? That'll be concise to the point of what we're talking about.
That's correct. We will work with Seaside staff as well as get the input from the other jurisdictions to make sure that whatever is submitted to the board, whether it's in April or May, when it comes back, that it has all the information that the chair has requested.
Okay, so if we can make that into a motion so that it would be official, would that be okay? Yeah, so really we wanted really like again, as I have mentioned, I move this that agenda item is deferred to the April meeting, and the board requires that Seaside provide a comprehensive written justification in the April agenda packet addressing key factors such as governance, impact, legal basis, and supporting data rather than resubmitting the previous materials. This includes a full rationale to the proposed change, supporting data or case studies demonstrating the need for weighted voting, a clear analysis of how this would impact SCSD's governance structure and decision-making process, a response to concerns raised by the other two member cities, and a documentation proving the City Council of the City of Seaside formally authorized this request for weighted voting in a publicly noticed meeting prior to when they submitted this proposal to the SCSD board. I request that SCSD staff formally communicate all of these requirements to the City of Seaside in preparation for the April meeting. If the City of Seaside fails to comply with these requirements and does not submit the necessary documentation by the deadline for the April agenda packet, the board will decline further consideration of this request, and agenda item 6A will be removed from future discussion unless and until all requested information is properly submitted and reviewed. Is that a good motion?
Sure. So you're talking about we have a drop dead date of April, and after April, we'll no longer be on our agenda. So you're saying.
Well, if they don't comply with all those requirements or expectations, so we don't have any reasons to discuss it even in the board. So, but if yes,
Will you be able to resolve this issue by April meeting?
It's my understanding that as long as this item can come back, as long as it meets all the requests, it doesn't necessarily need to be April, it could be future down the road, but when it does come back, it needs to meet all those parameters that was stated.
Okay, so I will,
I mean, I don't want to talk about this for the rest of my life. That's good.
That's the way I understand it. So as long as that's the way the board is presenting it, I'll work with the city of Seaside to make sure that they understand those parameters.
yes, thank you, because of course, we have to be also be compassionate. If they cannot meet that, all of the requirements, okay, we can understand that, for as long that they complete all of those.
I'm sorry, and I just want to make the point that this item was just to have a board discussion on whether or not they want to, the board actually wants to initiate it to be added to the code. So there was no posting guidelines or anything regardless with this one yet, because it wasn't being part of the amended code. Once the city brings it back, then the board will decide whether or not to add it or not add it to the existing SCSD code. And then at that point, it will be publicly noticed and put out in the papers and everything that's required.
Okay, so yeah, but before we can even decide what direction we can provide to the staff, we need all those parameters.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
because we can't just be like making decisions with no data. Yeah, I hope you understand.
Yes.
Thank you. So do we have any other, from the council?
No, I'm gonna assume Director Blackwelder that you seconded the
Yes.
chair's motion to add, correct?
Okay, so now the motion has been said and seconded. Let's put this on a vote. For those who are in favor, say aye. Aye. And the motion has passed. So the item will be deferred until in such meeting, until all the parameters would be fulfilled. Thank you. Okay, so we go to the next part of our meeting, which is public comment. Public comment which are not on the agenda. So members of the public wishing to address the Seaside County Sanitation District on matters within the jurisdiction of the board, but not on this agenda, may do so during public comment period for up to 2 minutes. Public comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name. Now I open the floor to the public for public comment. There's none. Okay, any other? Yeah. No, on the Zoom too. Okay, so I close a public comment. And now let's go to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. So we have here consent agenda A, to approve minutes from the February 11 regular meeting. B is to receive Seaside County Sanitation District Operations Report for February 2025, which is the purpose to receive Seaside County Sanitation District Operations Report for February 2025. And the recommendation is to accept reports. This item is presented for information only. The third, or C, in the consent agenda is to accept and file the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024 annual financial report for the Seaside County Sanitation District. The recommendation is to receive and accept the June 30, 2024 annual financial report for the Seaside County Sanitation District. And D, adopt a resolution approving a change order in the amount of 15,788.50 to the construction agreement with Monterey Peninsula Engineering for additional work on the Broadway Avenue Terrace Street Sewer Main Repair Project. The purpose is to consider approving a change order for additional work by Monterey Peninsula Engineering in the amount of 15,788.50 for the Broadway Avenue Terrace Street Sewer Main Repair Project. Recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the district manager to execute a construction change order with Monterey Peninsula Engineering for an amount not to exceed 15,788.50 for additional work for the Broadway Avenue Terrace Street Sewer Main Repair Project. So does anyone from the board want to pull out any items on the consent agenda? No. How about from the public? Do you want to pull out some items from the consent agenda? I heard none. So I'm gonna put it back to the board. Do I have any motion?
I move to approve A, B, C, D.
Okay, I second. And in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the consent agenda was approved. And now we don't have any new best business agenda. New business agenda, and let's proceed to the staff reports.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the proposed ordinance for revisions to SCSD Titles 1, 4, and 5 that was discussed at the last meeting, SCSD staff met with the city manager for Sand City, who gave us some red line comments on our proposed ordinance. We received the last of those at the end of February, and there wasn't enough time to review and incorporate them into an ordinance reading for this meeting. So we intend to do that soon and then bring it at the next meeting for a first reading. Excuse me. So that's why it's not on the agenda today, even though at the last meeting you asked for it to be brought. Also an update for the PD station sewer overflow. Work is finishing up. SCSD is still awaiting a reimbursement letter. We have been told that they may not be requesting reimbursement, but we haven't been confirmed yet. So if we are brought a reimbursement letter, we will bring that to the board. And that's all the staff updates for today.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any questions from the board? And from the public? None? Okay, so if I see none, so now board members' comments. So last agenda item, our meeting.
I talked last week about us having these meetings before. Are we being recorded now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you said that.
Yeah, I was just checking to see if we're doing the recorded meetings, that's all. And I was assured that we are.
Okay, thank you. And also I would like to thank the SCSD staff for really working hard for accomplishing the needs and also the preference of the board. Yeah, I really like those efforts are not gone unnoticed. So thank you so much for your hard work. And yes, thank you. And that's all. And now meeting is adjourned. Yeah.